Okay, continuing from the last video, we're in the process of making a group with a mask on it so that everything that gets placed inside of this group or folder, if you will, has the mask applied. So we just went to the little drop down on the layer panel, this little drop down menu, and selected new group. All right, and then as soon as we got that, we named it skin. Then we're going to take this mask and we're just going to click on it and drag it so that it goes to this group that we created. Then we'll start putting what we need inside the group. So the one is the texture, and then we said we were going to make a copy of this skin layer. So I'll just click on that, do Command J to jump that, and put that inside. Now really we don't need this one anymore, but I'll keep it just to be paranoid, and then we'll turn this back on. Now we'll go into our group, just click this downward caret here, and that'll let you know what's inside the group. Right, so we have the skin copy and we have the layer. So on the skin copy, what we are going to do now, let's see what it looks like with it off. So that's with the skin copy off. Then we're going to turn the skin copy on and we're going to apply that blend mode that I mentioned earlier of soft light. So notice skin copy is what is selected. Go in here, find soft light, turn that on, and so here's the difference. This is without the extra copy, and that is with it on. So you can see it does a pretty nice job of bringing some of the shadows and the highlights back in. Not mandatory that you do that, but can be very helpful. Now, a very smart thing to do here is if you ended up with any extra copies of the skin layer on the mask, you can just go ahead and delete them. But before you start deleting anything that's very important like that, why not go up to File, Save, then do File, Save As, save out another version. It won't let me do that because I'm recording right now and this is a big file, but do the Save As, give it a different version name, so if at some point you screw something up, you can go back and you're not starting over from scratch. Okay, I'll bring in one more texture layer with you watching here. So I'm going to go File, Open, navigate to another texture. Again, take the Move tool, click, go to my original image. Still have the mouse down, moving the mouse in the middle, releasing the mouse. Now this one's quite small. Now Photoshop has gotten very good at upsampling images, but if you notice any pixels at all, then you're better off to just go hunt and find something new. Now I'm holding down the Shift key because I kind of like the spiral that's going there, so I don't want to stretch it or distort it anyway. And notice you can get pretty interesting, because there's a center point there. You could get pretty interesting, like giving her like almost like a new dimple, if you will. So anyway, we'll try that. Hit return to make my Command T's go into place, and notice because I did the lips earlier in gray rather than full, we get a little bit of the texture in there, but not a lot. And that's kind of true, like as people get older, right, their wrinkles transfer down into their lips. But if you don't like that, you're certainly more than welcome to go paint the lips out and put a different texture in them or no texture in them. And then again, the key here is just experiment with the amount of opacity, with the different blend modes, and see which ones you like the best. Get some really bizarre stuff just by trying out these different screen modes. And then again, dodge and burn tool will help. If you don't like the color that it's bringing in, image adjustments, desaturate can be your friend there. And then also you may want to change the color overall of her skin. If you're going for that alien look, then certainly bringing some green in there makes sense. So you could just simply create a brand new layer here, fill it with green. You can also use these layer fill and adjustments by clicking on this little, almost like a yin and yang symbol here, and select solid color. Pick your color that you're after. You can always change this later. Click OK. Because you did this inside of the group, it still has the mask nicely applied to it. And then we can just change the opacity down. And keep in mind that everything has an effect just by what the stacking order of the layer is. So if I bring that down, the color works in that way. Bring it up here, it has a different effect. Bring it up here, has a different effect. If we go down to this layer and we change its blend mode again, we're going to get different effects, and so on and so on. Even with the solid color, you can play around with different blend modes. And there's color burn. That may be taking her a little bit too dark, but again, you can always go in and lighten things up. Anything again that you've learned so far in this course, you can go ahead and apply to this. Now the ears are really kind of standing out. Is why don't those have any texture on them? So at this point, the beauty of masking is we click on the mask itself, maybe zoom in a bit, and instead of picking solid black, maybe we pick something more in the lighter gray area, and grab our brush tool and paint a little bit of that texture in. So really what I'm doing is painting on the mask, and it brings just enough in, or maybe in your opinion not quite enough, but if that is your opinion, then remembering that black conceals and white reveals, we just pick a lighter gray yet. And we're getting a little bit more. And you're the artist, so don't feel like you have to paint the whole ear uniformly. The areas down lower are probably the more critical ones. And then double click on the hand tool, back out, and you can see it has more of a natural look to it now. Well, natural-ish, right? If you think the lips should have a little bit more of that texture in there, same thing. And you have a choice when you're adding or subtracting. You can either go solid white and solid black and decrease the opacity up here, but the problem is that once you release the mouse and paint again, you get that variance. That's maybe too much variance in there. I'm just bringing this, I brought it into the teeth a little bit there, so I'll Command Z to back up. Just use this brush size through here and here, and then once I get to where I'm running out of space, I'll just take the bracket key, bring my brush size down, but get all that. All right, so name of the game is just keep on experimenting.